What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in, Voice of the Fans podcast. As we are live here in Las Vegas, NBA Summer League. A lot of things going down. I got the man, Mr. Amit. Yo, funny thing is I got Amit sober right now, fellas. I saw the videos. I saw the videos from Dan Levitard stuck you out there, so I just had to hit you up with that. But we here got Amit. Let the people know where they can find you, what you up to. I know you. Excuse me. I know you. You got a lot of things going. You're on the Series Network right now. I hear you with Dan Levitard. Let the people know where they can find you consistently.
So consistently, I would say Dan Levitard Show, wherever you get podcasts. Basketball Illuminati, that's my podcast. I got the merch on. Right here. So you definitely want to get that. We got weekly with Tom Habitstro, and then Cinephobe is my movie podcast that I do with Zach Harper. All three of those things are available in the Levitard Show Network. And then if you listen to Sirius XM NBA Radio, Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, me and Jason Jackson do NBA Insiders. I would say those are two main places you can find me. You can find me a whole lot of places.
But then you appear, you're a guest, you're frequently a guest appearance on a lot of different shows. So you really got to stick to lock on to XM Sirius XM. What station number is it?
86.
86. I mean, you're on various shows, man. I turn on and you're doing everything.
Especially when we're out here at Summer League, you know, we got all types of special shows. You actually pulled me from, I was just hanging out, loitering by our set, where they do a lot of interviews and stuff like that during Summer League. So, you know, that's what people say, oh, where can we find you? Like, I wish I had hey, Mondays, Wednesdays, like at this time, but the reality is I'm all over the place. The only set time I have is Sundays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Now, I asked you a few years ago about that, Mr. Amin. I asked you, when are you going to lock things in? Why don't you go ahead and get you a TV show? Because you know the game. You've been an insider. You've been on from the front office. Everybody wants to know your opinion. So why don't you go ahead and settle down, Mr. Mean, and stop running around everywhere and go ahead and lock things down?
Hey, man, some people weren't meant to settle down. What can I say? Papa was a
rolling stone. Okay. What do you say? He keeps moving, under the feet, gathers no moss, huh? I mean,
exactly.
So, again, we're here at Summer League. What's been your biggest takeaway here? We're 5 days into it. What's been your biggest takeaway from Summer League here?
Well, I would say I'll start with off the floor.
Okay.
Summer League is back. Last year I was here, the first Summer League after the pandemic. It was in August. It was smaller. I remember telling everybody it kind of feels like Summer League 2010 again, like where you know the Cox Pavilion would have the bigger game because it was more packed, and this one was kind of empty over here, and it just wasn't. It didn't have that same energy. But Warren McGarry and Albert Hall, who doing an incredible job of putting this thing together, they really put the effort into to bring it back up to the pre-pandemic levels. And I had the feeling over here that it's back, it's back, it's back. The energy is back. The people are back. The numbers are back. And so that's the thing I give it. I was here last August and I was like, oh man, is this what life is going to be like now? So it's nice to see we're back to normal.
Well, that's really good. Yeah, it feels back to normal. I was in the scrum yesterday, and I had to think I haven't been in the scrum since 19? So
man, last year they were like, there's a Zoom meeting, so you can sit in these chairs over here. The media people have to be escorted to go to the back.
Right.
And then you do the Zoom, and then you get escorted back away. It wasn't Summer League. It wasn't the thing that we've grown accustomed to. And so I'm glad that we're back to normal.
Well, that's good. And this is what I'm kind of used to. We actually get to talk to the players, get to establish that relationship, meet the players, meet the PR team from the other teams. In my role, I got to touch on you on that. My role, meeting that PR team is critical because they help us so much in my role. So I got to being able to actually walk up and talk to them, walk up and shake their hand, which the last couple of years has been emails and text messages.
And you know, like the whole work from home, Zoom in, emails, and all that stuff. It's helpful, it's useful, but it takes away the human element. A lot of times, what you're talking about is interacting with people face to face, shaking hands. Maybe you run into them at a restaurant, at a bar, sharing a drink, having a laugh. These things matter because they build relationships. And down the line, in our job, when you really are relying on people to help you out, you need those relationships.
That's key. So that's welcome back. Let's go to on the court. Who's been the most impressive to you on the court? Now we know somebody, and we got a question about people being pulled from some league. Kind of like people being pulled out of their college bowl game. Who's been most impressive to you?
Well, Paulo Banchero, I guess we're talking about people got pulled.
Right.
Before he got pulled, he was really good.
He's killing.
He was really good. You know, the scoring was effortless, but the thing I was most impressed by was the passing.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I did not know he was that good of a passer. The kind of reads that he was making, his ability to deliver the ball on time, on target, those things are not easy or picked up kind of quickly. So to see him play like that and to know that, you know, Orlando doesn't really have a pure point guard. You know, Cole Anthony's more of a scoring guard. So if you're looking for a guy to create, he's, you know, he's the guy that you can play to. Yeah.
Well, him and Suggs. What do you think about him and Suggs and Anthony? That trio, if you will.
Yeah.
And then Bumper down there to down low to kind of
and don't forget kind of Franz Wagner, who had a great rookie year last year. I mean, they're building something in Orlando. Markelle Fultz is coming back off an injury. They got something. They got the pieces. But now is the hard part. It's like it's one thing, okay, we got you some talent. Now how does that talent fit together? And that's what we're gonna have to see. So on the you know, the topic of people getting pulled, that's what makes it disappointing. We want to see Banchero continue to do stuff because we want to see how he's going to fit in with his teammates. I know pretty much only RJ was on the roster here, but still, that's an opportunity to build some chemistry with a future teammate.
So some people will say that there's no reason for him to play summer league because he's not going to be playing with his teammates.
Right.
And so then there's a risk of more injury.
Right. I mean, my thought is when we say we're going to sit a guy because we're on injury risk, to me, that has to do with load management. And what load management means, it doesn't mean we won't play you. Load management means we're kind of managing the workload on your body. So if you played 4 games in 5 nights, like there's a reason to say, look, I don't want to play the 4th game. Why? Because he's already played 3 in 4 nights. That's a lot of games. So how can we kind of remove these extra stresses? And what it does not mean is a guy has 3 games over the span of a week and he plays 2 and says, okay, that's enough. I can shut it down now. There's no injury risk here. Any more than injury risk of him walking down these steps and falling, or injury risk of him going outside and getting sunstroke. Injury risk, I got injury risk right now. You do too. So what is it that we think like is so awful that absolutely going to happen on the court? He plays basketball for a living. There's always going to be an injury risk. The injury risk that we try to eliminate isn't the one of not getting hurt at all. It's about getting hurt because you were doing too much, and he didn't do too much.
What do you think about that, sir?
Well, as you said, it's come back that summer league is in full swing. For me, it kind of seems like it's an NBA meeting with the scrimmage going on in the middle of it. So kind of everybody at the same time kind of getting a chance to see the same thing. So my take has been that it's more of an audition / exhibition / practice to kind of validate what GMs have seen and decisions that they've made, to kind of get opportunities to perhaps talk with someone about this player or that player. That being said, I feel like the players are somewhat showcasing what it is that they can or can't do, and that there's a point that you know enough that summer league is probably a step below what you really should be doing. For example, I think Jonathan Kaminga is kind of overkill being here. At the same time, I think that Wiseman being here shows everyone that he's back from injury. What is your assessment kind of that?
So I would say, first of all, absolutely yes. It's a scrimmage in the background of a convention, basically.
Oh, well, you don't validated this guy now.
No, that part, he's right. It's right. Like the only people, it's gonna sound messed up. The only people really paying attention to the game being played are the representatives of the teams playing. They're evaluating, how's my guy look? But a lot of these other people, they might be watching some guy that they're going to get on their G League roster, or maybe even an invite to training camp if they don't end up with the team they're with. But the reality is, the more important part of your presence here is interacting with your peers from other teams. But I do not agree with you about it being overkill for a second-year player to be here. It's important for them to be here because, A, this is an opportunity for them to display learned leadership, right? You've done a whole year in the NBA now. It's not new for you. You figured it out. You got the rhythms up. Now it's your turn to teach the new generation. Hey, man, this is our terminology. Hey, man, this is our procedures. This is how we approach practice. This is how we approach game day. These guys are clueless. They don't know anything. So having a vet in the locker room at Summer League is important, just like having a vet in the locker room for the regular season is important. The difference is the vets here aren't 10-year, 15-year pros. It's the second-year guy.
So in that vein, I mean, for example, should Cade Cunningham be here? Someone that was a rookie for years, that someone kind of had already established himself as kind of a presence in the NBA. Do you think that these reps would still be meaningful and important for him?
Cade Cunningham needs to learn how to play with Jaden Ivey. Right? Those two guys are going to be playing a lot of minutes together. They've got to learn chemistry. Why am I going to wait until camp or August for them to start to get to know each other on the floor? Why wouldn't I start at the earliest possible opportunity? Cade Cunningham was rookie of the year. Okay, you played 1 year in the league. You made it now. That's it. You good? You can take the second bus. You can get the big piece of chicken. No, it doesn't work. Like, you still are earning your place in this league. All of these young players, and to me, that's the biggest difference from when I worked in the league to now. They're ready to crown these kids immediately. I'm like, no, they're still kids. They're still learning. Cade Cunningham's barely 21 years old. How can I give him all the respect and the benefits of a 4, 5, 7-year guy? He's still learning. And so part of that is being here. Part of that is, even if he's not playing in the game, you go practice with the young guys. You go be in there and practice. I want to get these guys accustomed to playing with you, and I want you accustomed to lifting up people who may not be that good, by the way. Because you're always going to have a star-laden team. Sometimes you're going to have to be a struggle. So I need to know that you're able to, A, make these people better, and B, lead them. And to me, like, there's never an opportunity to, it should never be like we're going to pass up an opportunity to learn. These are all learning opportunities. And finally, what I say is this. One of the most important things for me, a lot of execs, is you love to play. The guys that love to play, yeah. Because I play basketball. When I was in high school, I figured out I could have like 3 gym classes in my schedule. So I ended up just smashing people PE periods to hoop. Like, that's, no one was making me do it. I just wanted to do it. I had free time, I'm going to do it. So to me, like, it's important, I think, to always emphasize and encourage these guys to want this to be the priority that they want to do. As opposed to telling, oh, man, you're too good for that. Why would I ever tell a guy he's too good to practice? He's too good to play.
You make great sense. I think the bigger point is identifying if they love basketball. That's a huge point. Of them being here, them being a part of their team. I think that's more critical. Them just being here. We saw a couple years ago when Ja was a rookie. He didn't play in Summer League, but he was here with his team in Summer League. He was interacting, practicing, and being involved, creating that chemistry to help elevate the team. And we see a few years later now what they've become. They're on an arc, they're good trajectory. So I think there's a lot of speaks volumes to a lot of good reasons why they should be here, why they should be playing. Being a glorified practice or not, it's a time for the team bonding to come together. So I think for those reasons alone, they should be here. Quickly, just real quickly, while you were talking, will you touch on how these teams are constructed? Are they constructed with these guys actually having potential to make the team? Are they just trying to fill a roster? Or really trying to evaluate some of these guys? Explain that, touch on that real quickly, if you will.
So you got 12 guys, give or take, on the roster. Some teams bring 15, some bring more. Let's say you got 12 guys. You got your first round picks from this year. They're all there. And your second round picks too. So however many of those guys you got, boom, you got that. For me, for us, if we had second-year players, guess what? You're here too. So add in a couple of those guys, right? And then the rest of your roster are going to be a mix of guys that we like not now, but maybe along the line, guys that we like that we want to be maybe part of our G League program, and then that happens. Sometimes those guys at the end of the roster are favors to agents, right? Because for these players that are not NBA caliber or even G League caliber, being on a summer league roster helps them land international deals. When these teams from China, from Turkey, from Australia are looking at players like, well, where did he play? Well, he was on the Raptors summer league team. That's puts you on a higher echelon than a guy who wasn't on a summer league team.
Who just played at UConn.
Yeah, so the expectation like, why were you on a summer league team? Clearly you weren't that good, right? So that helps them in negotiation. And if you help them and help the agent, maybe the agent might help you out down the line.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let's talk about some NBA. We got a lot of transactions. We got a game that started about 15 minutes, so I don't want to hold you up too long. But we got some on-court or off-court stuff that we want to talk about.
Okay.
What do we see happening? Do we want to talk about what coast we want to talk about? We want to go East Coast or West Coast? You spend some time on the East Coast or the Northwest or the Northeast?
Yeah.
Talk to us about the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
I personally would not trade Kevin Durant. I personally would not trade Kevin Durant. Kyrie, I would trade him for a bag of donuts if I could. Just addition by subtraction and let KD. Now here we are. Let's roll. And see if he'd be willing to roll with that. What's your thoughts on that? What do you see happening?
I think the big thing is that KD and Kyrie are connected.
They are
So,
still connected.
yeah, so you can't say, well, I'm going to do this over here, and then I'm going to do this over here, acting like these are two separate, unrelated events. What you do here will impact what happens here. Having said that, I too would not be in a hurry to trade Kevin Durant. I think the Nets are right to demand to get proper value for him. He's arguably, when he's healthy, the best player in the league. He's got 4 years left on the deal. Yeah, I'm asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars for him. And I'm not going to do it just to, well, he really wants to go to Phoenix, so I guess Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson are just going to have to do it. Like, no, man, this has to work for both sides. Now, the interesting thing is, will Kevin Durant open up his list of teams? Because if he does, that gives the Nets more of an opportunity to get a better haul, a more representative haul of what he's worth. And I think ultimately that's going to happen, but Kevin's got to get to the place where he says, all right, I'm not going to Phoenix, I'm not going to Miami. Where can I go? What's the next place I can go?
Stay in Brooklyn. That's why I wouldn't trade him. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, if he says, okay, Toronto is a yes, so now we start talking about, okay, this is a little bit more representative. We're not talking about Tyler Hero or Mikal Bridges. We're talking about some actual talent there. So.
Go ahead.
In my opinion, the only team that really has enough young talent and enough picks to really make an attractive deal is Brooklyn and Golden State. Put together a package of Canadian and Wise and Poole with the picks. However, after Bridges been torched over there in Golden State, is that something that's just a possibility that can happen?
I don't know if they've been torched. That's interesting. I don't know if they've been torched, but I do know, I think that there's a little bit of a been there, done that. There's no bad feelings, but it's kind of like, you grew up in your parents' house and then you moved out, lived and got your own place and doing stuff, and then for whatever reason you got to move back home with mom and dad. No ill will, but it's kind of like, did you clean up your room? Like, I'm a grown man, you can't tell me. So there's a little bit of that, I think, tension that might exist. The idea that, like, we've done that, we've been there, there's no need to go back to that kind of dynamic on both sides, to be honest with you.
Now that we're speaking, quick question, because I'm thinking of a second team. What would Kevin Durant look like in Denver, and do they have enough assets to trade in return for Kevin Durant?
So Denver is in the same boat as a lot of these other teams. Like Miami. That's Michael Porter and Jamal Murray, the two pieces you want to trade, are ineligible to get traded. So what's left? Will Barton got traded, so you can't. There's nothing left, and you're not going to take Jokic. So Denver's going to know. There's two teams to me that have the collection of young players and picks. One is Toronto, the other is New Orleans. Those are the two places. New Orleans can say Brandon Ingram's an all-star, he's 25 years old. You show me some other team that's got a 25-year-old all-star, they're willing to trade you. No one's going to be able to say that. So they got an all-star in him. They've got a bunch of picks, remember, from the Drew Holiday deal, from the Anthony Davis deal, and their own picks as well. They can put together something. And then from Toronto's perspective, you talk about Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., and then picks. They've got an opportunity to play a package there as well.
I like the Toronto offense. I really like like the Toronto offense? Does KD wrap his head around going elsewhere other than where he wants to be?
Yeah.
That's the kid. But you say him and Kyrie are connected.
Yeah.
You expect them to play in the same team next season? Or
No.
are you saying connected in the sense that they both have movement to make? You have to figure out, you have to kind of adjust what you're doing for each one to appease the other.
Connected in the sense that the only team that has to worry about having to have Kyrie in order to have KD is the Brooklyn Nets. That's the team that has that problem. If you want KD, you got to keep Kyrie happy.
So I get the feeling you probably know better than I do, but I get the feeling KD's temperament is such that he's not going to be a malcontent. He does love to play basketball. So when October comes around, November comes around, he's going to be on the court for Brooklyn, giving it his all. I wouldn't expect for him to, if they traded Kyrie, for him to say, I'm not coming up, I'm not playing. You may know better than I.
Now, I agree with you, but also, what if he calls your bluff? Basically, you're saying to him, like, I don't think you'll do it. I don't think you have the kind of the personality to sit out and not play.
I'm making on what, 15 years of being in the league?
Sure.
Show that.
Sure, but, guys do sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. If he's really hell-bent on not playing, he sits, now you're in trouble. And in the same way, then it takes your leverage away again because it's like, oh, they're really in trouble. No, they really need to make a deal. Look like what happened with Houston, well, not Houston, excuse me, Philly with Ben Simmons. It doesn't help your leverage to antagonize the guy that you're dealing with.
Right. Okay, that's fair. That's fair enough. But I'll take it from the man. I mean, he's been in the position. He knows what he's talking about. So since you know what you're talking about, are these Los Angeles Clippers the favorite in the Western Conference come November?
No. I think
he gave me a flat out no.
No, yeah. To me, the favorites are still the champs. They're still the ones who've been doing it for 7 years now, 8 years now, and that were counted out. And then they show just let us be healthy at the same time. And we'll show you it wasn't no fluke. It wasn't because of Kevin Durant. It wasn't because our time was then. We're still the best team in basketball. And they showed that. And to me, until someone can beat them when they're all healthy, I'm still going to believe that that's the best team out there. So they're still my favorites to win the championship.
Wiseman coming back. If they don't make any moves, that is a strong point.
Right. And that's kind of why those guys, Kuminga and Moody, got to play last year because the understanding was, man, we're gonna need you sooner rather than later. And you have to start to get used to playing alongside these guys because one day you're gonna be in that rotation. And it looks like from their off season, they're gonna be in that rotation this year.
So what do you got, Tim?
So that being said, do you think that Kyrie ultimately ends up in Los Angeles?
There's no other place I think that's willing to take that risk. And so, now also, there's no other place that the Lakers can also Russell Westbrook to. It's one of those things like, if we both got a problem, and they both 1 year, we're the problem, like, it's just our problem. The problem is, each one is going to say, well, you guys are more desperate, so you need to give me something. The Lakers are going to say, give me Seth Curry. Because you got a problem with this guy. I need a good player too, beyond him. Give me Seth Curry. The Nets are going to say, wait a second. You guys are the ones who got a guy who doesn't fit what you're trying to do. You got a new coach. Don't you want him to play with the, you know what? We're giving you a better fit for your team. And for that, you guys have to take Joe Harris' contract off our hands. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're just doing this game of chicken. But the reality is, as of July 12th, there's no incentive for anybody to be like, okay, I'm desperate, give it to me now. We can afford to sit and wait.
Does this go on into the season, you think? The Lakers would have seemed like they're more in a desperate situation than...
Well, I don't know that, right? Are they? They're betting that the Nets are in a more desperate situation. We didn't start this segment talking about the Lakers. We started talking about the Nets. That's the team everyone's talking about. So the perception, at least, is that Brooklyn is the one that's hard up. The Lakers, man, like, we missed the playoffs last year. We missed the play-in last year. We straight. Our coach said all the right things to me. Oh, I love the roster. I love Russ. All right. Until we start playing, no one's gonna know how desperate we are. But everyone knows how desperate you are right now.
Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. The NBA, the NBA has been crazy. The off seasons continue just to seem like there's no really cutoff to the season. We go from the finals to the summer league, or finals to the draft in the summer league. So it's just a lot of movement. When do you get a break?
Well, I'm asking the same question, man.
Seriously,
Well, it's serious. It's mental. I tell people all the time. When you have 2 jobs, everyone always thinks you're not doing anything. Like, you only work this much. Like,
over here,
like you only work this much. Like when you add it all up, I'm working more than had I, when I was at ESPN, when I worked at one place, I had like a manageable workload. Now I'm working at 2 places. I'm always running around doing something. So don't get me wrong, I like it. It's fulfilling, it's rewarding, but I get tired sometimes.
But with all your travel, man, you gotta put plenty of like airline miles, hotel,
points.
Where you going on vacation? You gotta take a break off. Where you going? Where you headed?
I don't know, man. I gotta check. See, the problem is my kids start school end of July. August would be the time where I can take a vacation, but they can't. Wow. So I have to put that one on the back burner for spring break or winter break or something like that.
Well, we appreciate the commitment. We appreciate the content. I mean, let the people know where they can. Extra Series XM, or where are you on social media?
At Darth Amin on Instagram and on Twitter. Those are really the only 2 I do. I'm on TikTok, but I just watch. I don't really be doing anything there. So
you're a movie buff.
I creep. What?
You're a movie buff.
Yeah, I am.
What you think of Hustle?
I haven't seen it. Came out not during the finals. When I was there watching, like, I was busy.
What's the best movie you've seen in 2022?
Man, there's 2 movies, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. One was The Incredible Weight of Massive Expectation. That's the Nick Cage movie where he plays himself. And the other one is Rescue Rangers. I watched it with my kid, and you know what, man? That movie's great. Whoever wrote that, they had all these inside jokes that none of my kids got. Like, I got it. All these references to stuff that I grew up on and all that. So I really enjoyed it. That was well done. I thought it was really funny. I'm not ashamed to say it, man. Sometimes those Disney Plus movies are the best movies.
I saw, what is it, Esconda, about the little girl who was looking for Esconda. I think it was Esconda. Disney movie.
Yeah.
It was actually, like you say, it was just. It was for major.
The one, we don't talk about Bruno. The one where they think about when that family lives in a magic house. And all that. Man, what's it called? I can't remember.
That was actually a really good movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie. That was 2021 though. So I was keeping it.
It's 22. That was 21.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I started January 1.
Right, he got dates and everything. Did you see Top Gun?
Oh yeah, I did. It's cool. Like it was good, but it's Top Gun. I'm like, you made it out to be like, oh, this great movie and it's so deep, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's just Top Gun with better special effects. I mean, and the special effects are amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it's Top Gun, man. Like, all right.
I mean, thanks for joining us, big dog. I appreciate it.
Yes,
sir. Work.
Yes, sir.
See you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll catch you outside.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one. Thank you. We're going to go on a break here. You can just shut that off. Where's my... Man, I appreciate that, man. That was dope, man. All right, you want to get All right, man, that was super dope, man. Have Mr. Darth Amin. We're gonna see who else we can grab today, but I want to thank you guys for sticking with us. The Voice of the Fans, man. This is a journey. This is a journey that I'm on, and I'm trying to do what I can do. Your help, your support is appreciated. We do got a hoop game going on. We got the Raptors and the Bulls about to play. Cleveland, log on. We're gonna get Cleveland to log on here.
Please welcome a 2022 Summary Hampton Idol Talent Search 13-year-old Sophia Alba Maria.
That's national anthem fans.
Une histoire inévitable des plus brillantes exploits. God keep forever, glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on God for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on God for
A big hand, ladies and gentlemen, Sophia Alba-Marie. And now it's honor to start the training to freedom and honor our sisters around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
You see, by the time to at the twilight and I sought through the land oh, the red was gathering and
What's up, fans? We back. We just had a pretty cool interview with General Housing. That we gonna break down.
Number 26,
Play some of
Number 31, Weston Lewis. Number 19, Marco Simonia. And number 25, David Perry. The Bulls head coach is John Brown. Now let's see the starters for the Toronto Raptors, the home team. Number 20, Jeff Duggan. Number 45, Orlando Patriot. Number 8, Ron Harper Jr. Number 35, Christian Maloko. And number 9, DJ.
So 8 o'clock tonight.
Toronto's head coach is Trevor Gleason. Your officials for today's game: number 2, Claire Audrey. Number 30, Kevin Pavey.
Okay, what's good? Can you hear me, Cleveland? What's good? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear anything?
A little bit.
Huh? Can you hear me? Yes. I can hear you. What's good? What's good?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So we just had sat down with me. What's your takeaway from Mr. What Mean had to say? I didn't like how he shut down my Clippers being the favorite for the NBA championship this year. What you thought on what he had to say?
No, I thought he was very spot on in a lot of his assessment. Of course, we tended to disagree with regards to how much practice and reps the first and second year players needed. He made some good points about, kind of creating team chemistry and playing together. And I just feel like the risk to reward is not that high, and that once you've kind of proven what it is you were there to prove to do, that you should somewhat get a pass with regards to kind of playing in the summer.
Well, I mean, as a individual sport player like yourself, I mean, the understanding of the team concept and the team dynamic, I know can be kind of challenging for yourself. So did he did that shed some light on that philosophy?
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand the philosophy 125%. It's just, I just don't agree with it. I understand why people say that you should do that, but no, I think that once you've proven that what you can do, I think there's a reason that Orlando Magic shut down Paulo when they did, and I'm 100% in agreement with their timing on that.
And again, that's because of the individualism and you struggle to understand the teamwork aspect. So I did like. What do you think about that Toronto package? I don't think we touched on that package for Scotty Barnes. What do you think about that Toronto package for Brooklyn? For Scotty Barnes and picks and going to Brooklyn.
It's not enough.
No,
you don't have enough proven players. You have a lot of draft capital, but so what? We're talking about Kevin Durant.
You just want what Golden State has to offer. That's all.
No, it's just like as we discussed, Golden State and Denver have the most young talent that's been proven, but unfortunately Denver can't make trades with regards to NBA rules. So that's just the only other team that would make any sense. The other teams that are rumored to be destined for Kevin Durant don't have enough capital to do it.
All right, yesterday we saw Oklahoma City play the Orlando Magic. What's your thoughts of Orlando without Paulo?
Well, it's summer league, so clearly their summer league team was not didn't have that much depth after the number one pick in the draft. They looked a little lost, to be perfectly honest with you. But again, the summer league is for auditions primarily. I'm not sure that they're going to be on the roster or players that had very little playing time last year and are trying to prove that they deserve more playing time this year. So I'm not particularly surprised that after Paulo was shut down for the rest of the summer league that they didn't look as sharp as they did previously.
And your thoughts on Chet? Trying to put a body on Chet, and what's your thoughts on Chet and how he approached being a coach in the post-game press conference about the challenges he's having playing against tough competition, playing against bigger bodies?
Well, it's no secret. I mean, all you have to do is look at him that he's a little light in the ass, so teams are going to come at him as physical as possible just to see what he's made of. I think for the most part he held his own. On the other end of the court, he's always going to be a problem in the presence blocking shots. So I think he's proven that that's one of the strengths of his game.
I think he's going to have to hit the weight room, but it's not like you can just bulk up 50 pounds overnight and all of a sudden be this, Hercules type of a player. It's going to be a process. It's going to take some time, and I think he's on the right path. And this is a good, kind of prep for what the season's going to be like.
What do you think about Giddy? Giddy playing with SGA. Will we see any of that, or is Giddy coming off the bench?
I don't know if they necessarily have a plan at present. I think that they're trying to develop some chemistry between Giddy and Holmgren early. I don't know if necessarily Shea fits into their long-term plans, like we discussed yesterday. But for the time being, Shea is still the best point guard that they have on their roster, so he should be starting. So we'll see what happens.
How long did that last, though?
It lasts until they see enough from Giddy, in my opinion, that they see enough to give him the keys to the car. So until they feel confident with that, it will still be Shea. But I think that the pressure from the league, the opportunity to upgrade at some point a team that's either in a playoff run or feels like they're a point guard away from really making a run at things, is going to offer to trade for him.
Okay. Who else we saw yesterday? We saw Tari Eason with the Houston Rockets. He outshined, to me, Jabari Smith Jr. yesterday. Did you see that, or you're biased because Jabari was the number 3 pick, that he has to get more recognition?
No, I wouldn't say that I'm biased. Jabari is who he is. I thought Tari Eason played, extremely well, given kind of the level of expectation they had for him. Obviously, it's not the same as the number 3 pick in the draft. So I'm not saying that everything that you get is, is gravy or icing on the cake. But no, I thought Tari Eason, put together a really good game.
Do you think he's going to be able to excel in this NBA?
I think it's too early to tell just from what we've seen in Summer League. I wouldn't say
that's all you have to gauge on, man. I mean, it'd be nice if you can wait until things happen and say, that was a good decision.
Well, if you want me to make a decision right now, then the answer would be no. I don't think he's showing me enough to think that he's going to be a presence in the NBA next year.
Well, he's trying not to show his bias now, fans. And I think he's getting a little angry that me pushing back at his foot.
No, I mean, if you want to know right now, based on what I've seen from a few Summer League games, the answer would be no. I haven't seen anything so spectacular to make me think that he's going to be a presence that's going to be felt in the NBA right away. No.
So what have you seen so spectacular during this Summer League that's impressed you? What has impressed you, Mr. Cleveland?
I think so I think that the players that are supposed to be who they are, the Keegan Murrays, the Paolo Bancheros, the Chet Holmgrens, I think that they've shown why they were top picks in the league. I think as far as people that we weren't paying attention to, I think Christopher over at Houston has had a good Summer League. I don't know if that will translate to once the season starts, but he's definitely been a surprising player in the present so far.
Okay. Nice man. So, what else are you looking for? What else are you looking forward to seeing here from Summer League?
Just seeing if there's a player that we weren't expecting or hadn't heard of previously, kind of making a presence, kind of having a big game, and kind of showing flashes of brilliance, if you will.
Okay. Tonight we have the Lakers playing. You got were you here to see Scott's son, Sharif?
I did not see Sharif or Scottie Pippen Jr.
Okay, so you get a chance to see them tonight. What are you looking forward to seeing from those guys?
Looking forward to see if they look like they can, play in the NBA. Right now, I think that's still a question mark. It's a good opportunity to kind of audition and see, kind of exactly what their skill set is and how it will translate at the next level. So we'll see if they can prove that they deserve a spot on the bench.
So you want to, so just to revisit this, you want to see those guys get a lot of minutes, play. You want them guys to play during their scrimmage time, and you want other guys like Paulo not to really play. Is that what I'm
right? Yes, because those guys are actually auditioning for an opportunity to play in the National Basketball Association, whereas Paulo Banchero was the #1 pick in the draft, and that makes a completely totally difference in what it is that you're trying to assess talent-wise.
So you need more time to assess Paulo? Is that what you're telling me?
No, no one needs any more time to assess Paulo. But as far as whether Pippen Jr. or Sharif O'Neal can play in the NBA, yeah, we're going to need some more time to figure that out. That's not a given.
All right, Cleveland. What else you want to tell the people, man? We got the people can see you doing your thing here on the side, man. What else you want to let the people know?
What else I want to let the people know? I want to let the people know that irregardless of what everyone is saying right now, I really feel like Kyrie is going to be in LA. I think it's going to be probably around the start of training camp, and it's gonna shake up the Western Conference.
Does your bias? I mean, do you lose that bias at all, or do you maintain that bias all the time? Because
it's not a bias. It's facts.
You hear intelligent basketball minds tell you that that's what they want to happen, but that's not exactly what's likely to happen. Talk to me about your bias, man, and why you are refusing to acknowledge that there might be better opportunities for him elsewhere.
It's not bias, Cam. It's simply fact. As Amin alluded to, it is the best fit for him, right? And it is, two teams come together that have specific problems that they need to address, that the other team specifically fills that niche, that need. So eventually it'll get done. He's basically said it's coming down to whether Seth's going to go or whether Joe Harris is going to go. It's really just that simple.
Oh, so you have confidence in what Amin had to say, though, although you refuted his argument that the players actually need practice.
Well, Amin's a knowledgeable guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he knows a lot about a lot. He's been around the block for several decades now. So it's not like he's some slouch. We understood each other. We were on the same page with regards to what the summer league is and what the summer league is about. So
I don't think you agreed there. I don't think you guys agreed on what the summer league is all about. I don't think you agreed that.
Oh, we certainly did on what the summer league is. Now, how you assess talent and whether whether second-year players should be playing quite a bit and players that have already established themselves as having a position on the team. Yeah, we differed about that. But, sometimes professional great minds, can, agree to disagree on certain aspects of things.
Well, I mean, yeah. You know all about great minds disagreeing what you have to say because you talk to me every week. So you know what that's about. But we got. I'm excited to see what the Clippers do. I asked Amin about the construct of the roster, which I thought was pretty interesting how he broke it down. You have your your rookies obviously, then you have your few second-year guys who still need more time. You have a couple guys you like, but I like that he pointed out that there is some partnerships. As I talked to you, I told you there's a partnership within the NBA. Everything's a partnership, and the partnership of the agents with the teams, with the GMs. Hey, give my guys some action. Give my guys some run on here. At least you let them get a seat on your team, and that seat on the team does elevate you. That means a lot, right? So I was pleasantly surprised that he touched on that. And that's exactly what I was getting for when I asked him that question. What's your thoughts on that?
And further to your point, it gives those teams kind of an opportunity to kind of keep a little bit of an extra eye on those players so that when they go overseas, you were the last team that was on their roster. So if they go over there, put up 20 points a game, all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, he was on our summer league roster. Let's, reassess what, he's been able to develop because you already kind of have an understanding of that player. So it's almost like a minor leagues with, after the minor leagues, so to speak.
Yeah. So a lot of the talk, we talked to Tyree Easton yesterday. Obviously, he's the native of the 206. We talked to Paulo Banchero, who's a native.
You're going to get this right, Cam. Paulo Banchero.
That's what did I
Number
say?
one pick in the draft. You and that Chero, you got to stop with that, okay? Caro. Paulo Banchero.
This guy. We have March On, right? That's going to try to take a look for him. What's going on? What was Tari said something in the water up there? What do you see as a lineage? I mean, it started way back with Doug Christie and Jamal Crawford, and it just went off from there. What's your assessment of the hotbed of talent, basketball talent that's coming out of the Northwest?
Well, from the outside looking in, it certainly seems to me that it is an each one teach one mentality, and that there's not a lot of jealousy and animosity that goes into seeing other players from the same area have success. So everybody is congratulating everyone on what they're able to do and trying to make it something that continues on for other players behind them. So they all seem to take the responsibility very seriously, and it shows in the mentorship.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things going on there. I think each one teach one really speaks to it. I'm not there, but the fact that there's a lineage, there's guys like Bill Ellaby, the guru, he called himself, kind of spreading the word of the talent that's coming from the Rotary programs there in the Pacific Northwest. And it's really impressive to see this, that year in, year out, there's more talent coming from there. And as we got to talk about and acknowledge yesterday that Paulo Banchero became the first number one player to be the number one draft pick of the NBA, and obviously from that area. So I asked him about that yesterday, and let me see if I can pull up what he had to say about that. Please on.
So in assessing that, I think, the 206 is a hot pick for NBA talent. I think, again, the opportunity for them to have a mindset that, and I think also one of the things I think people don't really understand is that the Pacific Northwest is somewhat isolated from other big cities, and it's more of a thing where I don't want to say it's a chip on the shoulder, but it's not as well renowned as everywhere else. It's not in Chicago and New York and LA. There's a bunch of talent, a bunch of people, and so I think the community is a lot, especially the basketball community, is a lot more close knit, and that also helps with kind of the mindset of what it is that they do.
The each one teach one is big.
DJ Wilson, his first personal foul.
And I think I got this coming out right here. Can you hear this?
No.
You cannot hear what Paulo has to say? Fans, I hope you guys can hear what Paulo has to say. All right, let me fix this, fans. I'm working on it. I'm sharing my screen. Share the audio.
Chicago foul number 50, Javon Freeman Liberty, his first foul. First team foul.
Can you hear this?
I can hear us. I can't. Yes, I can hear us.
So again, we just want to hear what his thoughts on being the number one player in the draft. Is it not on the screen?
Paulo, when you touch on all the talent that comes out of the Northwest, and then you become the first guy with all that talent to be the #1 draft pick. How did that make you feel? Talk about that lineage and how you come up and what that means, how that's impacted your game.
Yeah, no, that's influenced my game completely. You know, the way I play, molded by just how I grew up in Seattle. And growing up playing pickup against older guys. Guys I used to look up to. Dad was a strong lineage, a bunch of NBA players from Seattle, from Washington in general, not just Seattle, all across the I'm 17 Northwest. So I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the court,
Do you feel responsibility? Do you feel a responsibility to give back to some of these kids coming up that's going to follow your path?
I can go on and on. You got to get the main thing, just make sure I'm doing the excellence. That's what I'm trying to do.
Everybody, appreciate the time.
There you go, subscribe. That's why you subscribe to the Voice of the Fans on YouTube to get videos like that. Cleveland, what did you think of the kid, man? I thought it was pretty mature. I thought he was pretty mature in his response to my questions about being the #1 guy. What's your thoughts on the guy?
I think it's pretty apparent as we kind of go through this process of kind of watching the maturation of Paulo that he's been very well groomed for this position, for this opportunity. You can see a lot of the professionalism in him. I think, of course, that comes from the fact that his mother was a professional, NBA player, WNBA player as well. So I don't think any of this environment is foreign to him, absent for him to take on. I think he seems very well equipped to take on the responsibility of being the franchise player and the #1 pick in the draft. So I think he's handled the whole situation very well so far.
It's an impressive situation. Obviously, comes from an impressive background and doing what he needs to do to get drafted. How surprised were you that the Magic took him with the #1 draft pick?
I definitely was. I thought it was going to be Jabari Smith Jr. for sure. I didn't think that in college that Paulo did anything particularly outstanding. I thought that he had a great all-around game, but I think that the Summer League has given him an opportunity to kind of showcase the other parts of his game that people were not aware of. A lot of people have been alluding to the fact that he's a much better passer than they thought. He didn't have a whole lot of opportunity to do that at Duke, but as we're seeing in Summer League, that's just one of the facets of his game that he's able to kind of show people and why they kind of deserve to be the #1 pick.
So do you think that him in Orlando, are you confident with the team? Amin talked about the team that they're putting together, that they have down there. Him and Suggs playing with Cole Anthony. Like, is he going to be the bell cow on that squad? Does he step in there and be the #1 player for that squad? The go-to guy?
He certainly does. He certainly steps in and becomes the catalyst and the focal point for everything that they do. He's already established himself as a player and leadership qualities that typically you don't find in players that young. So I think that's a win-win in that scenario. And I think he's definitely going to be the go-to guy, the straw that serves the drink.
That's interesting, man. I'm interested to hear you say that. And I'm excited to see kind of what happens, how he transpires, how he fits in with that squad. That's going to be exciting to see. Also, as we know, it's going to be fun to see kind of what Chet develops into. I didn't ask Amin about Chet, but you seem to think that Chet's going to be a dominant presence in the 5 position.
I think so. I think especially on the defensive end, he's long and it's going to interrupt what players are trying to do. He's going to stop kind of all that driving to the hole consistently, and he's going to stretch the floor on the other side. So I didn't see a whole lot of the jumper that I was hoping to see. I wanted to see a little bit more of the range, but it's there. So I think he's definitely going to come out 15 to 17 points a game.
Well, I mean, we saw yesterday that, as you want to say, some guys is going to be engineers and insurance salesmen here in a couple of weeks. We're able to bully and punk Chet, if you will. What do you think that's going to happen with some experienced, bona fide NBA players get a piece of the thin guy?
It's going to happen. They're going to try and do that. That's the first thing that they're going to try and do is quote unquote test his manhood, see if he's going to be able to take the banging down low. But at the same time, they're going to get their shot blocked, and they're going to get embarrassed trying to guard him from 25 feet out. So it's going to be a give and take. He's going to give as much as he takes.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting overall to see what happens this season. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a fun season as always. I like looking at the young guys. That's why I make it coming here to Summer League is pretty impressive. Guys play with grit and hunger, I should say, because they're trying to make a squad. They're trying to change their life, right? They're trying to make a squad to change their life, change their family's life. So that's what makes these games intriguing. Fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in with us. I don't know. We have a post game pod. I don't know. We got the Clippers and Lakers playing this evening, and we're going to see what both these teams look like. Cleveland's going to get a chance to see Reef and Scottie Pippen. The Clippers are going to play their referee Sunday. Look what we see down on the front row there. We see the Jerry West and Lawrence Frank down there doing a little scouting down there. So again, here with the NBA
Summer League
game. So we'll turn the camera around, and you guys can kind of pan and see. You can see the stadium is kind of half empty. It is early, but you can see it's a lot of dignitaries here. You can see the stadium now. We got the game going on, but over here behind this hoop, that's where all the magic goes on. I can't zoom in, but that's where all the magic goes on. Right down there, if you can see, right in this area, there's a press rower is right here, and down this hallway is all the leaders on the way to the locker room. XM has their station back there where they're doing the podcast recording. But that's where all the magic happens, the meetings happen. Cleveland, I want to thank you again for making time to join us on the show. And we'll talk later, fans. Stick with us, whether we have a show tonight. You guys will get the alert. But we'll come back with some. Next time you talk to us, we'll have a recap of what NBA Summer is like. If you talk to us again tonight, you get a recap of what the Clippers-Lakers game was. But then there will be no show tomorrow. Next week we'll have a look at the NFL action, a look at the preseason action. We're gonna have to do some quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. We're gonna have to give our annual breakdown of who's who and what teams to look at. Next, we're gonna have to do that next week. So fans, stick with us. We want to let you know what we're doing, what our plan is for next week. But thank you for making time to join us here at the NBA Summer League fans. Thank you for joining us as always. Thank you guys for making our voice your choice.